Hi, welcome to Quantum Explorations. This is Sue. Today I'm going to talk about expectations and the difference between expectations and setting intentions. Uh, let's get started. So, in our creationship process, which is our day-to-day living, we have these inspirations to pursue something or go have a meeting or involve our energy in some way with others or with a particular type of activity. And that inspiration, that feeling that you're being drawn to do this thing or learn about this thing or meet with these people comes from our higher selves, the version of us that resides in another dimension, another higher frequency. It's us, but we're always being communicated with to proceed on our life plan to go to the next steps. And so we have these feelings, I call them intuitions. It's just going within and talking to all the versions of yourself, especially the higher ones that want you to have these experiences. And we then say, okay, geez, I've always really wanted to do this, or I'm attracted to this group of people, or I want to learn how to play this instrument, whatever it is that you're being inspired to take action and participate with your energy. And they come, and then we set an intention. At the time when you have this inspiration, you may not know why you're being called to do this thing or participate, or why you've been fascinated with it. And now suddenly you're going to take action and do it. You may not know why. So our brain, what it does is it takes over and it tries to make sense of it. Uh, or you say, maybe you're a busy person and you don't have in your mind a lot of spare time to just go and start this new thing. So your mind starts to say, okay, well, if I'm going to let you do it, then there has to be a reason, or there has to be a particular outcome. So our thinking brain tries to validate, especially if it's something that we're not aware of what the purpose of our new inspiration. And some people, they call them free spirits. They can just get this inspiration and they float here and they float there and they go ahead and do these things, and they don't attach an expectation to the outcome of it. They just free flow. Others, and myself included, and a lot of people I know, they feel there has to be a justification for what they're being inspired to do, instead of just allowing themselves to go ahead and do it. Okay. And the problem with expectation is that we never know how it's going to go once we start doing something outside of our usual routine. And that's how we evolve when we do things outside of our usual routine. And to me, it's also more interesting when we pursue things, people, groups, events, a new hobby, whatever it may be. To me, it makes life more interesting because, it could get very methodical, doing the same things all the time. So I call that a creative process. And so we go ahead and we start moving in the direction of this inspiration, of this thing or these people that we want to interact with. And we just start moving forward and doing it. Sorry, I got a little something in my throat. Let me just clear it. Okay, there we go. Maybe a sip of water. We start moving in the direction of our inspiration, and we set an intention for what we want to get out of it. You know, to the best of our ability, when we begin the process, we set an intention. This is what I want out of engaging with X, Y, or Z. And that's great. But when we add also an expectation of a certain outcome, that's when we limit the energy of our creation process. And the reason being, if I'm doing X, Y, or Z with this intention, but then I slap an expectation onto it, I may then be disappointed with the experience. Instead of just allowing the creative process to flow and see where it goes, and yes, follow your intention, I'm then slapping on, well, if this doesn't happen, there's my expectation. At the end of it or during it, then it wasn't worth my time. I may consider that a failure even, and be very disappointed. And it lowers our vibration when we have disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. Whereas because of the expectation, we're disappointed. We thought this was going to happen, but that happened. Okay. And also, we're missing the value of that. We wanted this, and that happened. But there's value in that. There's a reason why we're inspired to do certain things, and the outcome, which is that, has value. But sometimes we miss it because we're so being disappointed because we didn't get this, if that makes sense. So, really, what I'm suggesting, and I've learned for myself, believe me, I've gone through so many experiences, especially recently, where I had expectations of this, and then I got that, and I went, WTF. And then I went, Sue, remember your own words, you know? The moment you put an expectation on somebody or something or some event, you are setting yourself up for a fall, emotionally, energetically, and you're missing that which the experience was meant to bring for you, or you could miss it. And then maybe later in retrospect, you might see that and go, oh, well, that happened instead of this, which I can apply it to my life this way, or, that way. um, I think you get where I'm going with it. So I'm going to connect this a little bit to the quantum, okay? Because I'm a quantum explorer. Yes, I do hypnosis technique to help people find their own answers, but more so than ever, I'm also a quantum explorer. I want to know these questions, all these things that roll around in my mind, and I recently got onto a subscription. I bought a subscription to Gaia. It's the streaming channel, and it has many different shows available. And I started watching Cosmic Disclosure, which A plus plus, really awesome series. Now, for myself, I'm not as interested in the history of our alien origins and interactions because I'm kind of aware of it already through sessions with my clients. I know about this, okay? I'm not saying I know everything about it, but I'm not in my interest does not lie in the history of our extraterrestrial interactions with other beings. My interest lies on what's going on now. What are we doing to raise consciousness of humanity in conjunction in our work with extraterrestrials? So, um, I highly recommend Gaia because even if you're not interested in ET stuff, there's a lot of consciousness expansion material there, and you can just pick and choose what interests you. I mean, maybe you are interested in the history. Cool. There's a lot there. History of humanity and historical sites and what beings were doing what to whom and with whom. It's a lot. So if you're interested in that, go for it, right? However, I'm interested in expanding my consciousness and therefore then turn around and pair it with the experiences that I've had in quantum healing and continue to have, and then share it. That's my thing. Anyway, Gonna end this. I don't want it to be too long, but just keep in mind whatever you're doing, whatever your next steps are in your creationship of your reality, because we are all creating our own reality. We can have all the intentions in the world or what we think is our intention for doing something, but maybe sometimes it's good to just go ahead and go with the feeling of it. If you have an intuition that you're interested in something and you figure out a way to start moving in that direction, try not to put an expectation on it. I think your journey will be much more expansive that way, as well as your creations may surprise you. I know that mine do. And so the quantum of it is there's so many different ways that any certain thing can go. There's a timeline for everything that you do in your life. There's one main timeline that you're on, which is decided by your soul plan. But every event or major thing, even the minor things, can change your timeline, and it shapes it. Our reaction to things shape it. So if we're constantly being disappointed because we're putting expectations on everything we do, then we're going to be on a timeline that's not as much fun to be on as if we were to act as explorers and allow things to unfold. Yes, move in the direction of our inspiration, allow ourselves to follow our soul's calling, even if it seems ridiculous to our brain. Don't judge it. If you're being called to something or to learn about something or to start interacting with certain groups of people, don't put a judgment on it. Why? I mean, there's a group for every interest that can be imagined on this planet. Why not take advantage? Right? Who's it hurting? So go ahead and follow that inspiration. Try not to judge it and try not to put an expectation on what that journey or what that involvement is going to have for you, because I think what I find nothing ever turns out the way I think it's going to, uh, or it might a little bit, but it's never just exactly the way I imagined it, and that's kind of the fun in life, right? That's why we came to this density to have this experience on this planet. It's not because we came here to have all the answers and have it right. We came here to explore. Our souls came here to have experiences, and it's all okay. None of it's on the highest levels of frequency, which I would say are source energy, love, God, however you think of it. Um, there's no judgment of any of it. So go ahead and follow that inspiration. Go ahead and set an intention. Just try and relax a little bit on expectation. I think you'll have a lot more fun. Okay, that's it for today. Have a blessed day. Thank you for watching. Bye.